This is a tutorial on how to make a hinge. So I'm just going to start a new file and I'm going to call this part leaf, I don't know, leaf A. And for one of two parts, and I start with my basic drawing and I'm just going to turn on my planes for right now. And I'm going to start with, there's different parts. There's a leaf and a knuckle to a part of a hinge. So I'm going to grab the front view and I'm just going to extrude. And I'm just going to make a basic hinge, not very big. So I'm just going to grab a square, center square, and I'm going to make it, I don't know, 1.25 long and maybe 1 inch tall. And you can vary this, but for this tutorial, I'm just going to keep it quite small because I can also get it out to 3D print. So click OK, and for an actual thickness, I'm going to keep it at 0.125 or about 1/8 of an inch. So there's the first part of my leaf. Okay, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the knuckle. So I'm going to click on another surface, extrude, go for my 2D, and just over on one side I'm just going to add, actually I'm going to go from that view instead. So let me exit out of this. And basically from the top view I think I'm going to go. So there's my top, selected, extrude, and now I'll go 2D. And all I'm going to do is add a circle down the back here. And I'm not too, as long as it goes over and in, okay, I want my diameter to be 0.25. Okay, and you can see now that it's kind of not touching. So I'm just going to grab a dimension and go from the back side here to the center. With my center scroll button, click. I'm going to put this, I don't know, 0.1. No, that's way too close. So let's go, I don't know, 0.2. There we go, that's about right. And then this number here, I don't know, just for the sake, let's make it easy, 0.6. Okay, there we go. So that's going to start where my hinge or my knuckle is going to be. Okay, and I'm going to go OK. And I'm just going to take this the opposite direction, and I'm going to go all the way through to the other side. Whoops, I can't do that. I'm just going to have to take this, and I know it's 1 inch high, so I'm just going to go 1 inch. Okay, and there's basically my knuckle to get started with. Okay, click OK. So at this point in time, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to rename things. I'm going to call this over here my leaf. And I call in my model tree, I'm going to call this one my knuckle. Oops, click on it. Once more, knuckle. Okay, and I've got an L in there. Okay, and then the last part I'm going to build right now quickly is just the pin. Okay, so I'm just going to put in the middle of this. So I'm going to take the selection. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pin in the center here, and I'll maybe show you later why. Okay, so I'm going to take that, extrude, and go back to my 2D sketch, and I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to click on the center. I'm going to hold the Alt key down, and I'm going to click on the outside so I get the actual center of this as a reference. And then click in the middle. Okay, let's make this one, I don't know, 0.18, sure. Okay, and then it's in the center. Click OK. And I'm just going to have it go centered like this. And I'm going to drag it out so it's outside of here. And I'm going to remove the material for right now. I'm not too worried about how long it is at this point in time. Okay, so click OK. And there's my first part. So I'm going to save this. Okay. And I'm going to show you an easy way of creating the next part so you don't have to reinvent the wheel or draw everything all over again. So I'm going to go now, instead, go to File, Save As. I'm going to go Mirror Part. Okay, and here I'm going to make sure it's Mirror Geometry with Features. And this one here I'm going to call it as Leaf_B. So my second part. And then click OK. And it starts up a brand new file. And you can see here it's, everything's here with the merge ID or the mirrored merge. Okay, so this is my part B, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove parts of the knuckle so that it can actually hinge. So I'm just going to take this surface here for right now, and I'm going to, I'm going to take the middle. Okay, we'll take the middle, do an extrude, do a circle, make it a visible 2D sketch, zoom in here a bit. And again, I'm going to hold the Alt key down, the outside, so I have a reference. And I'm just going to take this, make my circle, okay? And in this case now, I'm going to remove material, so you can see it. I'm going to center it. And I'm going to take out about, I don't know, 1/2 inch, so 0.5 of an inch. Okay, so this is part of my hinge now. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that because that is my hinge that will actually swing. So now I got to go back to the other part and put the pin back in. So hit save, and I'm going to close this one off, and now I'm back to my original part. So in this part, what I'm going to do is go back to my extrude here, which is my axle actually, or my pin. Okay, so I'm going to put my pin, just rename it pin. Okay, and I'm now going to take off the end parts. Okay, and I'm also going to take this section. Oops, sorry, I'm going to go back to the pin here. I'm going to go edit definition, and I'm going to unhide it so it's there. Okay, and I can change the depth of this after in a minute. So I'm going to grab this part here, go extrude, and I'm going to basically go back to 2D, and I'm going to zoom in again with a circle, Alt key down to get the reference of that, and I'm going to come out to the outside edge. Oops, didn't quite make it, so I'm just going to go to select, and I can drag it out if I want. Okay, or I can just double type this and put it, I know it's 0.25. Okay, click on OK. Now I got that there. It's hiding everything, so I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to move material, and I'm going to change this here to 0.24. Okay, and what I need to do is have a little bit of a gap so the hinge can actually move. So that's a little bit less. Okay, I'm going to go OK, and now you're kind of seeing what's happening here. There's some parts missing. Don't worry about that right now. I'll show you what you do in a second. Now at the same time, I'm going to take that, and I'm going to mirror that part that I just did across that center datum plane. I'm going to click OK. Now it removes it on the other side. Now here's the cool part. Because of the order in the model tree, okay, the pin has got to be last. So if I take the pin and I drag it down, whoops, I can't do that. Hang on a second, why did I just goof that tutorial up? Shoot. Oh, sorry, I had to go that way. I apologize. And I'm going to put that one above, and now I've actually got it in the right order. Oh man, I just messed that tutorial up, I thought, for a second. Okay. Anyway, so I got that now. Now what I can do is I can just let pin because it's too high. So I can come into here, right mouse click, edit definition. I'm just going to change that back to 1 inch, which is the actual height. Okay, click OK. So there's my second part. Now you can see, there's some parts there that, later on I can get rid of or change up. Okay, but that's it for there right now. So I'm going to save this part. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a new assembly. I'm going to call this one my hinge. Okay, and now I'm simply going to bring in and assemble the part A. Okay, so there's my first part, and I'm just going to go to default it into position, and I'm going to click OK. I'm going to assemble my next part, which is leaf B, and it comes in, and you can see it's already kind of in the right direction. So now this is the key here. I'm going to turn off my plane so you can see this a bit better. There's two axles here, or axes, right there and right there. So what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to go to pin, and I'm going to take that axis to this axis, and you can see they're actually lined up now. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this surface here and go to this surface here and go coincidence. Okay, so now they're joined. I'm going to click OK. Now here's the cool part. I go to drag, and I can actually drag, oops, sorry, wrong one. Drag it, open and closed. Okay. Now you can see it opening and closing. Right, it's actually going to close up, and I can open, all the way up to about there. Right, so there's some pieces in the way, but we can deal with that at a later date. Okay, so click close. Now the last part is, if I go 3D print this is quite tight. Okay, and what happened is earlier I gave a little bit of a gap, a 0.01 of a gap, here, a 10,000th of an inch. Okay, that's enough to actually make things hinge, but the center pin I didn't. So I'm just going to grab this part, right mouse click, go open. Okay, and I'm going to grab this pin, okay, and go down to the section, go edit definition, and I'm going to change that one for a 10,000th of an inch smaller, so 0.17. Okay, and click OK, click Save, and when I close this now, you'll see now there's a bit of a gap. Okay, so that's kind of the basics of doing a tutorial on how to make a hinge. And you can take this concept and apply it to, projects. So for example, a phone stand or something, which is what this tutorial is actually meant to help out. Right? Oops, and I click this one, and again, there's my hinging back and forth, and I know that I do have some spaces in there. I might want to take out a bit more of a space in here if when you print it, it doesn't want to hinge smoothly. But if you want a tight hinge, then I would leave that there, because that way it gives you nice tight, it doesn't flop around. But if I was to take a bit of material out there, then it would actually flop quite loose. Okay, so we're going to stop that tutorial there, and there you go.